Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Today on the chapters, I've got Susan Sheehey and Mia London. Thank you both so much for joining us today. How are y'all doing?
Great. Thanks for having us today.
We were just talking a minute ago. Y'all are both Texas girls like myself, right? Are y'all, everything going good on y'all's end, pandemic-wise, all that fun stuff?
Oh yeah, we're doing great. Staying quarantined. It's easy to isolate if you're an author.
Yes.
And ready to get back to normal as authors can be?
As normal as authors can be. I'm ready to get the kids back out of the house so I can have my alone time to write, right?
Yeah.
Into that.
So you two are authors individually, but y'all write together. Y'all are co-writers, correct?
Yes, we have two different series that we wrote together. The first one's the romantic comedy trio, and the second one is the romantic suspense duet.
And what are those called? What are those?
The romantic comedy series is the Sweet Escape series. It's these 3 books right here.
Those are beautiful.
Thank you. And then the romantic suspense duet are these, the Cascade Mountain Manhunt duet.
Nice. So how did this collaboration come about with you two?
So Susie and I were on our way to a book signing, and I was driving, and so we're chatting. At one point, she's got her tablet open. I think it was, right, Susie?
It's a laptop, yeah.
Laptop. And so she closed it and said something like, what a satisfying sound. Who would ever have a tablet when you couldn't slam the lid? And I was like, you know how our author little creative brains just turn off. And I was like, yes. But is she slamming the lid because she's happy or because she's, that? And so that actually that catapulted the whole series. We sort of were talking and building this story, this fictitious story, all because of the slamming of a laptop. And that is actually chapter 1 of the Sweet Escape series. It's called Dry Spell. So we started formulating this story, just going back and forth. And at one point I turned and I looked at Susie and I said, this is going to have to be a story we're going to have to write. So in between seeing our readers and signing books and all that good stuff, she started plotting down everything that we had spoken about on the road. And I think by the time we got to the book signing, we already knew, okay, it'll be 3 books because it'll be 3 best friends, and they each go on girls' trips and they find love. They each find love in their own book. Oh my gosh, just great. So much fun. We get home, we start plotting it over, the Google Drive. It was great. It was fantastic.
So what is your writing process when y'all are working together? I mean, do you each pick a character and you write specifically for that character, or do you take it chapter by chapter and just go back and forth?
We would take it chapter by chapter and go back and forth for the most part. So I would write a chapter and then she would read it through it, make any little adjustments, and then she would take the next scene. If there was a particular scene where, for example, Mia is really good at super steamy scenes, and if she had the inspiration to write a particular scene, I would say, great, go run with it. If there was a scene that involved more action or more, like for example, in the second book, there's a scuba diving scene. I wrote that one because I love scuba diving. And in the other series, I'm really good at blowing stuff up. So I would write those scenes. But it was very natural, the flow between us. She would just read the previous chapter to know what we're doing and what's going on, and she would just take it and run with it. And then I would take hers, do the same thing, read through it, and then take it and run with it. Really
so
natural.
I've done a similar situation, and I, for me personally, found that it helps to eliminate or maybe decrease the whole writer's block. Is that what y'all found?
Yes, very much so.
Absolutely. In fact, it got to the point where we would say something, and every once in a while we would get together, maybe over lunch or something, and brainstorm, and it just helped the flow. Somebody would say something, and it would just catapult to something else. We spurred each other, helped with creativity. We could brainstorm together. It worked out very well.
Yeah.
So y'all, was the Sweet Escapes, was that first, and then your mountain series?
Cascade Mountain Manhunt.
So is there more collaboration coming down with you two? Are y'all writing more stories together?
We currently don't have something in the works to write together because the pandemic kind of squash some of my creative abilities.
Oh, yeah.
But in the meantime, I was like, well, why don't we take the books that we have written and turn them into audiobooks? So I basically spent the pandemic teaching myself how to narrate and do audiobooks. And I
Oh,
asked
wow.
her to
So you're
come in.
narrating yourself.
I narrated the first one and Mia narrated the second and third ones.
That is awesome. Okay. I knew that y'all were turning them into audiobooks, but I didn't know if y'all had, because I know that it's kind of limiting at times, you know, if you're trying to find someone to do it, because, you know, when people probably don't know that there's an expense, especially if you go through Audible or ACX, you know, where it's, you know, trying to find somebody, and then you're paying the, you know, anywhere from 25 to 200 per production hour. It can get really pricey. So when are these coming out?
And this is coming out in June.
Yep.
That's so cool. And have you so you have completed all three. So are you releasing them all at one time, or are you going to kind of stagger the releases?
All at the same time.
All at the same time.
And when is that? June what?
It's actually going to depend on when it goes live with ACX and with Find Your Way Voices. So it could be June 1st. It could be June 7th. We don't know, just when it gets processed.
Right. So what is your experience been doing these recordings?
Huge learning curve. I would listen to myself and then I would absolutely hate what I did and I'd have to go back and record it again. I swear I recorded the first book, like the entire of the book, maybe 7 times, because I was trying to figure out, okay, my voice has to do this because it doesn't match up well, or if there were certain, like a lawnmower was going on in the back and I had no idea because I had my noise reduction headphones on, but the microphone was catching it. So I was just trying to tweak my sound booth and make sure that I had everything set up on the computer correctly. So it was a really big learning curve.
and there's a lot of acting that goes into that. I mean, you know, it's one thing to write these characters. It's another thing to truly give them a voice.
Yes. And I listen to audiobooks a lot in the car, and I'm trying to keep track of who's talking, and it gets very challenging when you've got like 3 or 4 female characters in a chapter, and you have to voice all 4, but make them sound different enough so the listener can tell who's talking without even having to have the book open, right? So that was the other challenge, is trying to learn voices without sounding corny or creepy on a recording.
So do you think that this could be a new outlet for you? I mean, narrating other people's books, or is this like a one-off just for yours?
I think I'd like to give that a shot. Mia does a great job of it too. So
would you do it, Mia?
I have to. Oh, sure, absolutely. If I'm not in the middle of, you know, working on something on my own.
And were y'all friends prior to writing together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We became closer. We got more entrenched in each other's lives. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, of course, with the pandemic, things have been crazy. Signings have come to an end, but of course, there's some coming up. And I saw that you're going to be doing some this year. Is that right, Mia?
Correct. Yes, I have. What do we do? August, we're going to be in Dallas, right, Susie?
Mm-hmm.
And then September, I believe, I'm going to San Antonio.
Yep.
I think that's what I've got. I'd like to do a little something every October in Cedar Hill. My gosh, they've been having this outdoor festival for something like 70 years.
Oh, wow.
On the last 5 years, and it's to the point where I start to recognize folks that come back. Hey, Mia, what's new? What you got? What you write?
Yeah. So what's coming up now for each of you individually? Are you both working on stories now that y'all have coming out soon, or anything like that?
I have a story that I've been working on for maybe about 2 years. I set it aside for the pandemic and while I was doing this audiobook thing. So we're gonna actually start working on the audiobooks for the romantic suspense series, Cascade Mountain Manhunt. And then at some point, I'll pick up that Hollywood romance story I was working on.
Fun. What about you, Mia?
And I've got a duet that actually, book 1 goes live June 1st. Mm-hmm. And shortly after that, I haven't picked a date yet, I'll have the follow-on for book 2. Just erotic romance.
Yeah.
You know, style, if you will, set in contemporary times. That's what's coming out for me. That's my for the year.
Nice. Well, thank you both so much for taking some time out and doing this today. And can't wait for your audiobooks to come out, and everybody go check them out because looks like they had a lot of fun doing this.
Yes, we did.
Well, thank you both so much. Y'all were awesome.
Thanks, Tanya.
Meet y'all in person.
It was awesome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Take care, y'all.
Okay. Bye.